Hello, Nodu, and welcome to the February PANDA board meeting and the PANDA board. The first item on the agenda is the treasurer's report. Mary Ann Harvey, what do you have to show us?
Where are the minutes?
Well, wouldn't they be coming from you, Mr. Secretary?
I
He
sent
sent them
them.
right after. He sent them the next day. We
That
can
was a
Don't
long
mess with
time
me,
ago.
girl.
I overlooked them. We can approve them.
Shall we approve our minutes from last week based on Danielle's recommendation? She's
Sure.
usually right. Okay, let's call them approved. Is there a motion to approve?
I approve.
Aye. All in favor? Yay! Okay, on Marianne with the treasurer's report.
You have before you two documents. The first one, the landscape, horizontal one, is how, I sent David the budget, proposed budget.
Right, I have this one.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, that's the one I
Danielle,
sent.
do we have sound?
What do you mean?
Are we recording?
Me too.
Didn't you used to have little microphones or something?
Yeah, I put on the internal mics because David's going to be talking. So
Okay,
I'll pick
okay,
up
very
everything.
You should have two documents.
Yeah, you should have two.
All right, we got two documents.
Start with the horizontal one.
All right.
And that's how David had asked me to redo the budget. I gave him two documents for the Frost grant proposal. So he asked me to put them both together in one document, so I did that. So it's the 2014 budget and the 2014 actual, which we had as a separate document in December, and then with the 2015 budget. So it's all in one document now.
Okay.
And I also condensed a couple of categories so that it makes it more logical for me anyway. I hope it doesn't confuse other people, but it shows just the few areas where the budget has been increased and by how much. And it still also shows that we're spending more than we're bringing in.
Okay.
So we can't keep that up for very long either. So that brings us to the financial report for this year, but we only have 1 month, one big month this year.
No, not that.
That's projected this year, last
You
year was
have a
63.
question?
Jeff was saying, how far over are we?
6,300.
We're
last
over
year.
our budget, but we do have money in the bank that we're kind of using because in previous
Right.
years we didn't fully spend, right?
Right, yeah, we do have a cushion, but we don't, see, over.
But the cushion won't last forever.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So, now we're starting a
Fresh
2015
review.
financial report. So our 2015 budget, oh, I say budget request, it should say 2015 budget. Oh no, that is our request, sorry, I'm reading it wrong. So this is the request that we're making to the municipalities,
Okay.
which is no increase. And
Right.
we haven't asked for an increase now ever since I've been treasurer, so I don't know how long before that we haven't
Right,
asked for
right.
an increase. So we keep it at the same amount because we're managing. Last year, we were very optimistic, thinking that we were going to get $1,000 in other income, and we got exactly $30. So
Well,
we didn't even put that in this year. That we were
I
doing.
talked to Mary Ann about that, you know, ways of getting revenue. We have two possibilities. One is the PANDA station itself. You know, I watch your Masterpiece Theater is brought to you by sponsored by Ralph Lauren. Now, how do you get a sponsor or support? Is that legal
No,
in terms of doing
it
that?
is not legal. We already went down this
Okay.
road trying
Well,
to
then-
figure out if we could get someone to sponsor because
We're getting thousands of hits on the Panda TV 23 YouTube station. And every time I sign into YouTube, if I've been looking for some shoes at LL Bean, a little LL Bean ad on the side,
Yeah.
and maybe whoever I'm watching gets a nickel from LL Bean for that. How can we, because when you look at all the videos we have up there are thousands of hits during the year. Even if it's, a nickel a hit or something, we could get some revenue from that. How would that happen if that's legal?
We have to ask our web person
So
how
that's
done.
that's one of the
Well,
questions we can
that's
talk
it's
about.
more than the web person. I think it's a discussion of how we can actually raise money.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we can't raise money, but we must be a way that we can raise money. So it's how do we walk that line? Because there are ways that we could probably get sponsorships, and if we did that, we could probably get more content as well.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, we talked about it.
yeah, we talked about all of this at one
Yeah,
point.
Right, we need to have a deeper discussion and with some facts. All we do is raise questions, we don't have any answers. We
Right.
have to
I
get
don't
some
know whether
answers.
legal has to be consulted, what's legal or not legal, but YouTube certainly should be able to be a revenue
I
stream,
think
probably a web
YouTube
person.
and our website as well.
And
We
our
have
website.
unused space on our website. And we would have to talk to Colin, our webmaster for that.
You have to make sure that you aren't spending more to put the ads on the website than you're
Precisely.
getting paid to get them.
Right.
Right.
So if you get $125 to put an ad up, does it cost the web designer $125?
To put the,
You know, to put it
yes.
there. So you have to think about these things. I know there is YouTube advertising, but
Yeah, I think you have to hit a certain amount of
I think
views
so, too.
before
And then
you're even
before they will
considered.
start doing revenue
Yeah.
share.
and I think
Ah.
it's closer to 10,000 than 1,000.
You can't sell ads on it, they sell
They
ads.
sell
They
ads.
sell
They
ads.
share ads, that's how some people
That's
get
right.
rich off.
Right.
Yes, some people do,
Right.
Right.
and big following,
But those,
so I
for
don't
those
know.
people that are getting 1 million views.
Yeah,
Yes.
big,
Exactly.
Our
big
highest
volume.
viewed video, I think, was 165 views
And what
for one
video,
video.
what video was
ballpark.
that?
Live at the center, that was plugging Tommy, the Who's Tommy.
John Labotsky has like almost 200 hits, he's a popular guy. He's talking
The
about
farming?
farming.
Oh yeah?
Big-
I didn't go back that far. I looked today at the
It's got a lot
analytics,
of
but I didn't
hits.
go that far.
But still,
So-
we're
so
still in the
Just ways of
three
getting
digits.
revenue, of beginning to get some
I
money.
think until we get
We'll
to
get there,
maybe
we'll get
10,000, 100,000, then we can start asking YouTube to pay us.
Yeah, right. So, other than that, it's just 1 month of expenses, and we didn't spend a whole lot. Even with salaries and everything, we spent $5,500.
Okay.
How much money do we have in the bank to continue funding deficits?
Yeah,
We don't want to attract bank robbers.
right. But it's more months than they usually say. You have to have X number of months, 6 months. We have more months than that.
But if you don't
But we
get the spending into line, then we start
Right.
running it, then you can't do
Yeah.
that, so we have to think of a way to do something.
Yeah, we don't talk about it over here.
Alrighty, that was exciting, Mary Ann. And now Danielle Maloney with the station manager's report.
Apparently number 3 is the station manager's report. Let me see. Oh, so our programming's going up. We got 28 new programs from our last meeting. That made me happy.
Did you get any more? I gave you 3 DVDs.
Right.
One
One of them
didn't.
was not working.
Okay, just one.
Mhm.
All
The
of
other
them-
2 are fine,
Okay.
because I put them both in.
It's the equipment. Yeah, they have to, that's what she keeps telling me, the equipment is broken. The equipment.
They're Duchess pens, they're pretty nice, aren't they? Uh-huh. 99
Sorry.
cents, Duchess Community College, bookstore.
I just wanted to thank David for submitting the frost grant for us.
Yes, David, thank you so
Yes.
much for doing that.
Is there any update on that as of yet?
They're
or-
meeting Friday,
Okay, so we'll hear from you then.
we should hear in a week or two.
How much did we request?
5,000, well, we asked for the camera and the iMac to do editing.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And if we get that, maybe we could take some of that 5,000 for equipment and lower it a little bit so that we have less of a deficit in 2015.
We're not in a deficit, we're just, we've had a couple of years where we didn't spend a ton, so we're a little,
Oh, but
we're a
her
little over
projections were
budget.
3,700 over, so maybe,
I think it'll balance out, right? So long as we don't go on a spree.
Which is, I think we pretty much have everything. we
Yeah,
want.
we've had some
But this
conservative
works, yeah.
spending periods.
David had another thought though too, because we keep paying Time Warner Cable and other public access stations don't pay Time Warner.
Is that
Cable.
That's because those other public access stations are listed as government stations where we're listed as a nonprofit. So we would really have to crunch the numbers to see, are we saving more as a nonprofit, or should we switch our status to a governmental PEG channel status and see if we can save more money that way? I had this conversation with Time Warner recently because I called and, I was complaining about
Yeah.
$5,000
money
a year
that's
is abominable, it's
and
ridiculous.
they were like, well, you're not listed as a PEG channel with us. You're listed as a nonprofit.
But would we be restricted in our programming if we were a paid channel
I
instead
don't
of?
think so. So,
No,
yeah,
because
we
it's
can
public,
just think about it.
educational, and government, which is pretty much all we have
Yeah,
on
that's,
there.
it
Is
sounds
that
like
what
maybe
PEG
we,
stands for, Public
Yeah.
Educational Government?
Well, most of our
maybe we
programs
somehow
government.
didn't set our
Government
status
or
correctly.
educational.
I think that could be.
That's,
I mean,
yeah.
anything could fit into the education.
Maybe they'll give us all that money back and we'll have to
Yeah.
ask.
Oh.
Okay, so
Then
let's
we can
finish
buy
up the
our-
report. Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but we do
Jane
have a
wants
new
to get out of
intern.
here.
Her name is
Mary Ann's
Liz.
out at 5:30.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sorry,
Sorry,
Mary Ann.
it's my phone. We have a new intern. Her name is Liz Prosecca. She's a SUNY New Paltz student. I don't know if I mentioned that yet. That's the only reason why I was saying it. She has volunteered to tape a local author talk with Jack Kelly. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with him, but he's going to be at the Tivoli Free Library. And I am going to volunteer some time on the 7th to tape a lecture that they're holding there called Attracting and Sustaining Wildlife, which I think will be fun.
But that's different than,
Then the author talk. It is.
who is he again?
Jack Kelly.
Jack, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Kelly, Kelly. And just because I have to make everybody aware, we actually had 2 station outages in the month of February. The first one was the weekend of February 8th and February 7th and February 8th. It was on Time Warner's end. Their equipment on their end crashed, and they were down all weekend. They called me on Monday to make sure we were back up and everything was okay.
But other people have their Time Warner television.
It was in the PEG office. All the PEG channels were out that day.
But we're not a PEG channel.
Sounds like we are.
Yeah.
Oh.
And February 16th and 17th, that's when our server crashed. So I got that back up and running with the help of some old equipment that was in Matt's basement, and that's that. That's my report.
Okay, terrific. And now it's time to talk to our guest, David Berman. So Danielle, you're going to move the camera
I
around
am.
a little bit?
I am.
Okay.
Are you going to stay in your seat there, David?
Or do you want
Wherever
to
you-
wherever you want.
Why don't you come sit at the table?
Maybe sit kind of on Eric's corner.
Sure.
Does that work, Danielle?
Works for me.
I can zip through this.
Oh.
Okay, fantastic.
Streaming issues, can't wait.
So is that your primary concern, David? Is it streaming? Is that what you're working on?
Yeah, why don't you guys
Um,
I have
My
our-
background is in television and technology and
No, I
media
mean for us.
distribution.
I'm
For
sorry.
you, it
Is
is
it-
streaming and is how to, the situation as Danielle explained it to me was that a significant or a number of Time Warner subscribers who would normally view the channel on PANDA 23 on their cable system could be weekenders, could be elsewhere, and wanted to view the programming in real time concurrently with the airing of the station via the web. And what the popular misconception is that the web is like broadcasting. Broadcasting or cablecasting is a different technology, and I can best explain it by broadcasting of all types is one-to-many in a common distribution. The internet is one-to-one every single time. So when you are using a facility like you have here in Tivoli with an upload speed of 3 or 4 megabits per second, television, to be reasonably viewable, is going to be a megabit or more. So what happens in reality is if 1 or 2 people ask for it, anyone who's trying to send an email, the system collapses.
Wow.
And that's why we kept going down all the time. Remember how I kept saying, I don't know why we keep going down?
Because the internet is a dynamically flexible thing. So if someone asks to watch a show, that system will give it to them as fast as it possibly can. So it will use all your bandwidth. Now you ask someone else to come in, and the system should dynamically adjust it and start cutting in half until you get to a point where it is unsustainable. In reality, that's only 2 or 3 people.
So this is maybe an ignorant question, but is this something we do as a Google chat?
No. The way you do this, the normal technological way to do this is you source the programming here, or if you were doing something live, since none of this is actually live, and you would send the program to what is called a content distribution network. Everybody in this business is a friend of mine from long ago referred to it as TTFLAs, 2 to 5 letter acronyms. So everybody refers to it, the Content Distribution Network, as a CDN. And what you do with a CDN is you feed the program to them. They have a huge server with multiple paths into the internet, because what people don't realize, when you pay your $24.95 or your $44.95 or whatever you're paying for the internet, the person putting material in is also paying. So that's why you pay a content distribution network, unless you are one of the major carriers. If you're AT&T, Verizon, AOL, and a few others, they don't pay because they agree to carry everybody else's amongst themselves, not for everybody else, certainly. So what we're looking for was a simple solution that would give you the ability to maintain a significant number of people to watch this programming while it's going out. The simplest solution was to go back to Time Warner as you renegotiate your franchise agreements and say, put us on the Time Warner streaming platform. And that would solve Danielle's problem, because she doesn't want to have to re-feed everything and reschedule everything. They would put that into their normal system where any registered subscriber would merely enter their account number, and it's Time Warner on the Go, I think, is their acronym. That would be part of the franchising agreements that you would have to renegotiate with Time Warner. The current contracts are unsigned for some significant period now.
So when they watch, they're not watching that feed from Time Warner, they're watching a refeed from us.
Yes.
And when I go to Time Warner, I have to type in my HBO password or to be able to watch HBO Go, so it'd be like that kind of a
Correct.
thing, to be able to watch it live streamed.
Right.
So when I said Google Chat, I meant Google Hangout. So is that a temporary solution to this?
No. It would still not give you the capability. Google Hangouts is not a content distribution network. Again, it is still one-to-one.
Okay.
So the Time Warner solution, if they would do it, still only serves Time Warner customers.
Correct.
Which doesn't solve the problem.
I would like to serve.
The problem is people who
Port
don't want to pay
coverage
for
too.
cable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and in this part of the world where I live also, I don't have cable where
Yeah.
I live.
Well, a
So
lot of people don't. Up here.
I'm a satellite subscriber against my better judgment, but I
Yeah,
have
me
no choice.
too. I just bought it.
So the next thing would be to go to your current hosting company, which is a company called InHosting.
In motion.
Sorry. You're currently paying them like $7.99 a month. For about $500 in the first year, you could have a streaming system on your website that would satisfy the needs of 20 to 30 concurrent viewers.
That's gotta be the most we would ever have.
I think that's a great number.
And then, I started looking at 50, and,
We're never gonna have.
Danielle said to me,
We're more in the 3 to 4. Yeah.
and so the downside of that
Yeah.
is it's a separate scheduling program. So all of Danielle's work is duplicated. What she programs Time Warner for, she would have to program this system for. Again, it's $375 is their base charge for the year if you pay it in one lump sum. If you pay it monthly, they double it, because everybody's working on the cost of money these days. There's a $40 or $50 charge for an installation of a piece of public access software, which is the scheduling system, and there's going to be a few bucks to pay your web guy to rework the site to make that work.
So we're really just talking about streaming the board meetings.
Live. No.
No, streaming everything.
We're talking
Everything.
about having our feed live on the internet, which for me, I know that there are people that ask for it, and I know that there are people who want it, but I don't really believe there are people who really are going to use See, I think the thing is, if we have our YouTube links of all the board meetings and all the things that people want to see, I
They
don't
can
think
see it whenever they want.
they can see it whenever they want. They can start it and
On
end it
demand.
whenever they want. I do not believe, the only thing that I think people might want to see as a feed is the calendar. And I'm actually wondering if once a week we could create a video calendar that goes up there. It would sort of solve the problem.
I mean, the calendar runs after every board meeting. People
But
know.
I mean, I wonder if there could be sort of a weekly.
And it's
Put it
on
up
the
on
website.
YouTube.
It's already up on the website.
Everything
The
from
whole
the
thing.
calendar is
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, you just click on calendar, don't
Community
you?
bulletin board.
And it's, you can read it.
Yeah.
And it sort of it goes
No,
through all the
doesn't-
slides?
It does, yeah. If you put it on, it'll start going through the slides.
Oh, I thought it was just.
Or you
one.
could do a drop-down
Yes.
menu and look specifically what you're
Yeah,
looking
that's
for.
what I always
Like if
do.
you're looking for the St. Lutheran's Church and what
Right.
they're doing, you just click on them and
So it's
you
both
see their
ways.
slides.
So,
Does anybody believe that there's actually
No.
anybody who needs to see Panda live?
I mean, I know for a fact, I can't tell you how many calls just for the one video that David put in, Peter Sipperly. Peter called himself here yesterday.
He wanted to see David's video.
He wanted to see David's video, which
Which
is
you can do
archived
on
on
YouTube.
YouTube, but he wanted to know when it was on Panda and how can he have people. And I said it's on YouTube, and he's like, "Yeah, that's great. Okay, I'll take down your, I'll
No, he
take down
wants to
your
know when
website."
it's on Panda. I
But
got
he wants
that.
to know the time on Panda, and he wanted to know if we streamed live.
Oh,
So-
to tell people the time.
The-
The thing that I hate most
But-
about
but
Time
you just-
Warner is that every station, 1,000 stations have a TV guide. 23 says public access. And unless you go to the website and look at
The schedule.
Danielle's schedule, you can't see, you can't record it. If you want to say, oh, when is the board meeting on? Oh, it's on at this time. Well, that means I got to take this 3-hour chunk, that 3-hour chunk, fast forward through 2 hours to get to the start of it, and then watch the second chunk as it goes over, because there's no TV guide.
but that
That is-
doesn't have anything to do
Or
with
you can
streaming.
go, yeah, it
No,
doesn't
but
have
that-
anything to do with anything.
but-
But if you go to the internet, you can watch it, the YouTube link, whenever you want. You don't have to worry about
But a
recording
lot
it.
of things are not on. I mean, a lot of programs are not
What
on.
what I
YouTube.
do goes on YouTube. What the Live at the Center for Performing Arts does, that goes on YouTube. What the Rhinebeck Historical Society does, that goes on YouTube, and that's about it. So everything else that gets
I
submitted
think
to
that's
us,
everything you need.
Panda doesn't do live events per se,
No,
like some stations do.
no.
You don't do a ball
I
game,
just don't think
you
it's
don't
necessary.
do, somebody dedicating something, you don't do Sinterklaas live.
Right.
but I
you
do.
know.
I do Sinterklaas.
Yeah,
But you don't do it live. So
Yeah,
if
yeah,
anybody
but-
wants
but
to see
yeah,
that,
I mean-
they go, they get the YouTube link and they see it. I guess I think this whole
Now,
issue,
they
I
see
think
it,
people,
they see it on what device?
they can
On
go
their
to the
computer.
website, go to the link and
Yeah.
play the video.
On their computer, not on
their
A
TV.
lot of older people
Don't have a
watch,
computer.
don't have a computer, like to watch it on television.
Well,
like
that's
to-
why we offer a public
Okay.
access channel.
And a lot of them keep asking me, why is 23 no longer working? And how many times did we tell them that, you have to go call Time Warner to get the card so that you can see 23? And I still don't understand why every single channel in the world works except
Except for
23. And it seems like,
You can, I mean, if people do have a modern computer, all new modern laptops have an HDMI port, which is a
Yeah.
high definition port. You can just plug that directly into your TV and you can watch YouTube on your television.
Yeah, but it doesn't resolve the problem for the older people.
but
who
turn
are-
on
the older
23,
population
they
is
don't
who
have a
we
cable
really
box,
have.
they just have the basic
But
cable,
we're not,
they
that's
can't
not
get 23.
streaming, so we shouldn't be
I know,
wasting
right,
our
yeah.
time. This is a streaming meeting, so these people wanna watch it on television, that's not streaming. I think people call you and say, when is it streaming, we wanna stream, and I think the answer is, we will load the link up on YouTube and it'll be there to watch the show, or it will be on Panda at 6:30, right? I think they're asking for streaming, but all they wanna do is see the video, right?
I don't know why people ask for streaming.
I
I
think
know
they
I
don't know
get
what
I
they're
don't
calls
think
out
they know
all
what-
the time.
I don't think
Yeah.
they know what they're
Do
talking
you
about.
get calls for streaming?
Mhm.
So,
But streaming might just mean
Especially,
I wanna hit the play button.
Like say
and-
Amen, there's people that are
Yeah, I
like, how
think
come you don't put
David's
that up on
right.
YouTube? I don't have the rights to put that up on YouTube, it's not my video.
But the
you know-
church could put it up.
And the church does have it on YouTube.
Well,
So
then
they just have
problem
to look for
solved.
Living Word Chapel and it'll be
Yeah.
on their YouTube channel.
Well, we could get permission from them too.
There are some
we don't
other
have to, if
options
they're
that you
yes,
can look at.
I was gonna ask there.
There are tons of options,
Right.
yeah.
All Digital is a company, it's a publicly traded company out in California that does NBC Sports, HBO, et cetera. The chief technology officer there is a friend of mine, Tim Napoleon, who said to me, you know what, if you really want to do this, we'll sort of do this for next to nothing and come up with a common ingest program that would both load Time Warner and load a streaming server for you but again, you're still gonna be paying for the streaming server. It is.
And that's $500 for the year.
For this year.
The streaming is $500, all digital's gonna probably charge you a few $100s and ask to do a press release naming you guys as their first public access channel, you know, which is fine. You know, again, it is, Time Warner tells me you have about 4,100 subscribers in the region that are capable
Oh,
of
we've got
receiving.
more information than we have.
Yeah.
Now we know.
That question for years.
How did you get that information?
Gunpoint? No. I called up and kept badgering him to tell me. And by the way, he's very high on, the Time Warner people are very high on the quality of programming you people
They're
put out.
high, huh?
Actually, for public access
It is.
stations, we are really good.
It really is.
Yeah.
Friends who worked in some of the New York City ones, God, they were appalled.
Yeah, we're very professional.
So there are lots of ways to do this. Again, it's a judgment call on you guys as to whether it is worth the time and the money to not overwork Danielle by having to double all her efforts to set up. In effect, you're setting up another broadcast network. And what you won't necessarily have, what Time Warner allows you to do, is the interstitial material, the stuff between. Dave, you really, guys, in your renegotiation with Time Warner, you need to talk to them about what data you need to put in the system that would interface with theirs so that it won't just come up public access, but it will come up with the titles of the shows. That's a problem for everyone, because if you are a regular user of a DVR, stuff doesn't always record because the channel didn't put the right code under in the vertical blanking interval.
Or the golf.
Or something
Took
ran
too long.
over, you know, and in football season,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
basically, if you watch CBS on a Sunday night, you've got to tell it to overrun everything 1 hour.
Tape CSI Miami at 1 a.m. to
Yeah,
make sure
right.
you get your show at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yes, I've done that.
Exactly.
There's also just this concept that if we have a live stream for the community on the internet for $500 a year, why are they paying $75,000 a year to run a little television station too? I don't know. I don't know if I think the streaming is really the service that we're supposed to provide. And
No,
I do
but
think when
it's a
people
nice
say,
part of the package.
what time is my show streaming on the internet? It would be easier just to say, well, you can go to the link and see it anytime on the internet, right?
Yeah,
I think
for the
they
shows
just-
that we have on
I
the
think
internet.
they just
again,
don't understand
We're
the
not
concept.
airing everything on the internet.
I think you asked
Well,
a very
I
good
mean,
question
that's
to your
right.
conclusion that I think we have to talk about.
Well, and there's a couple other, I mean, I hear everybody is interested in raising money. You know, and one of the things I'd like to get to that Danielle asked me to address is something fairly simple of having your program contributors be able to electronically submit programming so that they don't have to send in a DVD.
Yes.
And that's simply, you can do that through Google. They'll give you 15 gigabytes of data, or you can go to Dropbox or any of the others. And it's just a question of getting your web guy to set up that link and set up the account for you. As I say, Google will give you 15 gigs for free.
Check MediaFire too, I think they have a pretty generous free
Right.
program.
And it's an FTP, it's a file transfer
Yeah,
protocol, and they upload it to you. You may have to download it into
And then
and burn a
burn it, right.
DVD.
But that's not a big deal.
You know, if the old digital thing happens to appeal to you at some point, you'll eliminate the whole DVD issue.
We
and you'll
can't
able
be
to-
all digital.
We can't be-
We don't have the ability.
With
to
the
do
equipment
that.
that we have, we can't be all digital yet. But
Yeah.
Okay.
ultimately,
I think the big thing, the big
That
uptake
is more
going
important to me than streaming.
Yes, that's what I think. I think in the long run, if we have to
Yeah.
make an investment,
Yes.
it's figuring out
Right.
something that's not gonna be DVD based, it's gonna
And
be
the
file
other
based.
thing you can look at is, in raising money, is the secret that no one ever talks about at PBS is that they charge everybody to put on a program. They charge an insertion fee.
I think Panda did that once upon a time, didn't they? Try to do that? Didn't they try to?
I
Or
bet
was
I
it
think
charging
PBS
for
is
use of
different
the
than public
studio?
access. Studio.
There are
Oh,
public access channels that charge.
There are?
Yeah, well, you can charge for the use of the studio. If you
Well,
look
yeah,
at-
we charge for the use of the
Right.
studio, but
Right.
in order to air programs,
Why wouldn't you charge an insertion fee of $25?
It would
tried
all be
that.
coming from churches and Rhinebeck Historical
Yeah.
Society and
It's all nonprofits.
We tried
Yeah.
that and we were doing the service for free, and then when we started charging, they dropped off. And that's been what, 6
But, you know,
years.
it's always gonna be a question of audience.
Yeah,
Same thing with your website, as, you know, to have people say, all right, we won't charge you an insertion fee, but if you want us to promote it, we'll put a banner ad up for the month that it's going to air. Here are the times. There's 1,000 ways to do this, but in terms of, there are simple streaming solutions. $500 fixes all your problems. It would probably be a recurring cost of $300 to $400 a year to InMotion.
But it seems like it's $1,000 a year. If I'm not, it sounds like $1,000 a year. It's 500 to all.
No. You wouldn't need all digital unless you want to duplicate the work. If you want to get rid of the work duplication, then you need some additional software.
And that's $1,000 a year, including both of those two things.
Yeah, except that in the second year, once you bought it from all digital, I don't think they're going to charge you again.
Oh, I see. It's a one-time charge.
Yeah, it's a one-timer. They have a system called Brevity, which was designed to make lives easier. You know, the whole automation of television over the last 25 or 30 years is the same quagmire that every automation system has been. Some of them work, some of them don't. The cast character changes. But, you know, the FTP solution is simple enough to do. If you guys want to move forward on any kind of streaming, happy to, you know, get it rolling for you. But again, it's you know, the questions I raise are, do you really want to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's extremely important to the community. Will the size of the audience justify the expense? Those are probably the two critical questions. And I think we're not sure about.
Yeah.
I think it's like,
And
it doesn't
okay,
stream live, but you can stream it by hitting play and then it's streaming. I don't know, I just think people don't really know what streaming means. Is that possible?
I doubt it.
Well,
It'll
but I
try.
think
Oh,
you've
I
clarified
don't
the,
doubt it.
What?
I think you've clarified the issue. You know, it's just not that big an issue. There can't be that many people needing that so much. It's not, you know, it's not like the other issue of being able to submit electronically.
Yeah,
You know, that's a
Well,
big
that's
deal.
such a simple solution.
But that's
That is
an
a simple
important one to
solution.
tackle. And I just want to make one other, in talking to Time Warner,
Mhm.
my understanding of the original agreement is what they owe to PANDA is hardware,
Yes.
not anything else, not software, nothing, you know, it's hardware. And that's where PANDA, to live to its future, needs hardware,
Yeah.
particularly the B100 in HD that can do all of these things.
Yes.
So if,
This is
if
the
there's a,
Telserve unit.
Yeah.
yeah,
Telserve.
yeah, right.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the
That's
thing.
what we need the upgrade.
That's what we need. I mean, and get a negotiation going with them. That's what we should be going after, because that's where the real money is and the real need.
Well, and as the municipalities renegotiate, the change to pay, because even in all your franchise agreements, it refers to this as pay under the state law.
But we haven't incorporated as pay. Huh.
So
So we
what,
need to figure out how to do that.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
you
a good-
have more leverage, I think,
Yeah.
just my opinion from talking to them, that if you were to become PEG, and be careful of the definition as to what is educational, because in a lot of cases that means emanating from an institution of learning.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, we have stuff from Bard.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, no, but from, for instance, in most cable systems, the schools, part of the PEG deal is that the schools are wired,
Oh,
That's a good point.
and they're
Well, that'd
wired
be
for
fine
both
with us.
up and down,
Yeah.
so that the schools can contribute directly, and some of that money for hardware would be allocated to the school system. And now you're into talking to all the various municipality school boards, who will all say, well, give us all the money.
And
Right.
then what happens to the historical society?
Our mission is education. I don't know how that.
That's
No, but that's-
educational as well, but
It's
you,
public, right?
it's something to be
It's not for
careful of
profit,
in
but
reading
it's-
the
our mission is
law.
No, but there should be
Careful.
public education government. The
Yeah.
government, when we first came here years ago, I mean, we were hearing that there's several days of the week that you schedule for government. The government was the primary thing we did, was all the meetings, right? One day, Friday, was scheduled for education, whatever that meant. Whether it was coming from the schools directly, it was, you know, and then the weekend was public. The rest of the time was historical society or whatever people might be interested in, or
Yeah,
want to
I don't think
express.
there's conflict. I think
That's
we're
Mark
public
speaking, by the
education
way.
government.
Yeah.
What else
Yeah,
is there?
yeah,
We're not
yeah.
doing anything
Yeah.
commercial. There's
Right.
nothing really else.
Yeah.
Public access, right?
That's right.
Public education government. There's nothing else that we really.
I just don't know where the change happened, when it changed from a PEG channel to a nonprofit.
You think
I
it
don't
changed,
either.
or you think somebody never submitted that paperwork somehow?
I don't know.
It should
Somebody
be
had
pegged.
to- somebody had to
I think
apply
it
for
was pegged when
nonprofit
we.
status.
I don't get that.
Yeah, but they
Yeah, we're not.
weren't
I
aware that
don't-
they should have.
As I say, all the franchise agreement refers to this as pay.
It should have been pegged originally.
Yeah.
And is
So
this something we
something's
do with
supposed to
Time
be
Warner,
there.
or how do we, where are we actually changing this?
I am not, I
I'll
would
have to call
assume
back
with
Time
Time Warner.
You think it's just with Time Warner? I think Time Warner needs us to have some kind of.
It may be that the
Status.
communities need to designate you in such a way.
I wonder if it's the building.
What do you mean?
That we're
doesn't-
in?
I mean, like the
building?
input into the building, like this,
You know, because they're,
because it's our downlink here
Yeah.
is considered going to a nonprofit rather than going to government.
and there are court cases, believe it or not, about, because I asked about the bandwidth here, and for whatever reason, there is a controlling case out of San Francisco where a cable system had been obligated to provide bandwidth, and somebody said that's not fair, sued, and it created some sort of precedent, so now that's why they charge you for your connection.
$5,000. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is, and again, you know,
Because we're paying a corporate rate.
We're paying a business
No, no.
Well, a
corporate
business
rate.
rate.
Yeah.
We're paying a business
Yeah.
rate.
Nonprofits should have a lower rate.
and
Yeah.
maybe there's
Exactly.
a, if you
Yeah.
switch the thing to PEG, maybe that changes.
That's a very good point. But was your question about the fact that we're here, is that, you know, as opposed to being in a government building? I mean, I didn't quite
I don't
understand.
know, yeah, is there something about establishing the connection to this location when we moved here to establish it as a government office rather than as,
And it had been in the
Because
government
it was a
office.
town hall.
So
It was
it
in
was
town
in
hall.
town hall.
It was in
Yeah.
town
It was
hall.
also Rhinebeck Performing Arts
Exactly,
Center.
performing arts
Yeah.
before that, so.
Yeah.
But it was in town hall.
Yeah, so when it's in town hall, it
And the
probably
survey
already has
station-
paid status, and then when we moved off-site,
I don't think
I don't
so.
know.
you don't think Time Warner just
Because
says
I was part of that transition.
to go over to
I
Rhinebeck?
worked in the town hall in Rhinebeck.
In the cage.
And
Do you
then the
think when it went,
transition
so you don't
was-
think when it went to Rhinebeck Performing Arts, all of a sudden Time Warner said, oh, they're in the Performing Arts building, that,
Oh, I
that,
see
that
what you're
location is a nonprofit
I see what
location,
you're saying.
and so when we when
I
we
see
link
what
to
you're
that
saying.
location, we're linking to a nonprofit, and when we moved over here, it was the same
Well,
thing.
does
I
anyone
don't-
know where it was before it was in the performing arts?
I don't
'Cause
think,
I don't know.
I thought you said Town Hall was before.
No,
No,
that was
the other way
after.
It
around.
was after.
Oh,
the
it was
other way
Town
around.
Hall.
We
there.
came from town hall to here.
Oh, we did, okay.
Yeah, that's why I was in that transition from
I'm
that
just
to-
wondering, I mean, I think we are a government service office, it's just a matter of somehow establishing,
Right.
making them believe it, you know,
Our
rather.
entire funding is from the government.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Well, it
mean,
sounds like
government-
we
for
paid-
government
Government
employees.
funding, government support.
So I
Yes.
think making your position clear to whoever renegotiates the franchise
Right.
agreements.
If we ever can negotiate a franchise.
With
no,
any-
it's gonna happen this year.
Well,
It
and,
really
Think so?
should, it should,
well,
yes.
should.
the
effort should-
consideration of Time Warner is gonna
They're
be sold
still
to
doing this
somebody.
merge right now, and.
Yeah, but-
That may not happen,
I
Right,
know,
you
I-
can't just wait on that.
but if
It should,
Comcast
it should
doesn't
be
buy them,
addressed,
Charter
guys,
Right.
everybody,
will. You know,
time has come.
right, I mean,
Well,
Comcast
we've been
is
trying to
not
force
even
it.
under
Well, but you have
Charter's
support
a
from
foreign
municipalities,
Everybody's
to get it
waiting
together and
for
do it.
Old man Dolan to die, Cablevision to split
Most
the
important
license.
thing you can do this year.
And there's probably 20
For this
bankers
station.
with his 911 number on speed dial, so
Right.
if the guy has a heart attack.
All right.
Maybe they sell the Knicks.
Are we adjourning, guys?
Is that all there was on the agenda? Any old business from new business, or
Or just-
is there anything else that you
Um,
wanted to say
and
in
we-
your address?
You know, again, it's a business decision.
We're not a business,
But,
we're a peg.
yeah, but it's still is the demand there for you to create the supply?
I mean, I would say no,
I
but
would say no.
I just don't know who the demand is.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. either.
Or it is $500 a year, say you do it for a year and try it, and see what kind of response you get. Because that way you look at it and you say,
We're at the bookstore.
you know, because now you move that from 4,100 potential subscribers to however many billion people are around the world hooked up to the internet. Because now everybody can see it.
Would we get counts so we could see?
Sure. It would be statistically measured.
Because one of the things from the actual live feed on Channel 23 is without a TV guide, how could you get a Nielsen rating, like to see how many people are watching Channel 23? But at least if you get counts on how many people are watching the streaming.
And that's the difference
that would
between the
help us.
internet and, I mean, Nielsen doesn't measure
Well, we get the counts on
anything.
YouTube, yes, and we can see how many people are watching it on YouTube.
Right, but the idea is now you can pull back from YouTube, because the other thing is, with the streaming, you can get rid of YouTube and say it's available at any time, on demand.
Or whatever.
So it's live, and then the minute it ends, it's available.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
exactly, that's
interesting.
what we've been saying all along. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, obviously.
So, you know, so you don't have the YouTube situation.
So I mean, all shows, there's even the ones that they know is not put on YouTube would be viewable on demand.
Anything that airs on the channel.
Anything that airs on the channel.
Anything
Well, that's a
that
good
she
thing.
uploads to the streaming server.
That's
Which
a
would
good
be
thing. That would be
everything.
everything. That's much better.
That,
Yes.
As long
And
as you
less
have the
work.
rights
That
to
changes
go
it,
beyond.
yeah.
Right.
I think they pretty much sign away their rights on our form when
Yeah.
they submit it to us.
That'd be a great benefit.
We're allowed to do whatever we
That's,
want.
that is worth
That'd be
spending
great.
money for.
Right.
So,
That'd be really good.
let me ask a further question, because that made it a little more intriguing. How does one get on a Roku or the other streaming devices?
you have to make a deal with them.
They're all separate negotiations.
They're all
They're all
separate.
separate.
So it's
Whether you're Roku, Apple,
TV.
any of the boxes.
And I'm just not, it's not a big issue immediately, but I think as more people cut cords and still want to
Sure.
watch, you know, I do all my watching on a Roku now.
Right. And, you know, there's a huge number of people who don't bother with television and
But it's all separate. You can see Samsung smart TVs have HBO Go. My LG smart TV does not have HBO Go.
Yeah.
So it's all individual contracts they make with the manufacturers and the vendors. So
Interesting.
you can see
somebody's paying somebody.
somebody's paying somebody.
Always.
And this whole net neutrality war that's about to go on
I just
now is,
ended. The
you know.
Republicans conceded on that.
oh,
Exactly, yeah.
Because nobody wanted to force you to pay more for spam. Because that's what
It
it boiled
ended
down
for
to.
now, but
Yeah.
if the makeup of the FCC changes,
It is a political
what
body.
happens if there's a change in the White House, then.
And there's a lot of lobbying money being spent on both sides.
So is this the end of your consultation with us? This is the culmination, is this report?
Unless you want me to do something else.
I'm just curious.
Okay. You know, as I say, I'm happy to, you know, without any further charge to go if you decide to do something. Happy to help you get it done. You know, I'm very happy to do this and you know, it's not my primary business, so I'm not getting rich in this.
You're not?
No.
Oh, come on.
Trying just for you.
I'm trying to get rich doing anything.
Yeah. Count it all. I didn't win the lottery last week, so I guess nobody else here did, but I wouldn't win either.
No, if I won the lottery, I'd still show up to work.
Oh, please.
I would.
I have a head of hair.
How can I? This job is like a gift. Let's just put it that way.
Oh dear, okay, so
But
to who?
if you have any other questions for me, I'm happy to
Thank you.
answer.
Thank you,
And-
thank you very much.
Yeah, and just trying to, you know, my job most of the time is to make people think about what it is they really want to do.
Yeah.
And then put a number next to it.
thank you.
So we
Are we
adjourning?
adjourning? I think we're adjourned.
I
Should we
second.
turn off the cameras?
Yeah.
Okay.